Bane wasn't even blocking him. Like, that's crazy. Like, if you squaring off on a guy and he not even
And
trying to
he's just
block,
eating the
he just,
punches. Yeah.
and then he just hits you once and you fall back, and it's like, damn, I'm into it.
Like,
I'm into it. This is gonna be a tough one. And then they really showed that when he right before he broke his back, when he grabbed him just by like his suit. Like, it wasn't like he lifted him the way that you're supposed to lift, like with your legs. Like, he just
he just
reached
swooped him up.
over and grabbed him and just lifted him over his head like he was some dumbbell. And then that's so I love the way that they
I wondered what would break first. Your spirit
or
or
your
your
body
body.
snap.
Crack, crack. I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never knew a day I didn't downplay. My homie Dryden told me try an ounce to let the pain fade.
Welcome to Tone Deaf, a conversation podcast. Today, I've got a return guest, the man, Mr. Cam Archer, and we are here to talk nonsense. A couple movies came out. Well, a few movies came out. I highlighted them on some previous episodes. I spoke about HBO Max / Warner Brothers and their slate of movies that they have set to come out this year. And I also spoke about some of Netflix's movies. And just recently, there were two movies, one from each platform that just came out that we want to talk about. The first being Malcolm and Marie by Sam Levinson. And we're going to talk about Shaka King's Judas and the Black Messiah. But first, Cam, how are you doing?
I'm good, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's weird that our relationship started around music and music videos and whatnot, but we probably talk more about movies than we do about music.
Yeah, I think that's a very accurate statement. I don't know why that is, but it is very, very accurate.
I think because I don't think we really have like crazy differing opinions about music.
That could very well be it, yeah.
So it's like the arguments don't really last that long. If there would ever be an argument about music, I don't think there would be any that would, but we do have different opinions about movies. But I think I think we are on the same page about these two movies. I think we could start with Malcolm and Marie, by Sam Levinson. This is starring Zendaya and Mr. John David Washington. It's fun. I had an episode a few back where I talked with one of my guys, Asan, and we talked about Tenet. So I was a late bloomer to that movie. I didn't even see that movie until I think early January. It was for my first time actually seeing that movie. Whenever we had, okay guys, we're also on Clubhouse, and we talk about movies. And one of the movies that we had a session where we talked about Tarantino and Christopher Nolan. So whenever that was, I had just seen it for the first time, maybe a week before we had that. So whenever that was. So we talked about how I was really excited about John David Washington as an action star, because I really felt like whatever, I mean, again, I thought it was a great movie, but whatever beefs I had about the movie, one of the things that I really loved is I loved him, because I didn't know what to think, because I know he's not a very big guy, and I can't remember the woman's name, but like especially next to his co-star, she was like really tall.
Yeah, so, she's like a smooth 6'1".
So like
6'2".
He looked small in all of the scenes, but one of the things that I always felt, or I guess was real, is everything about him and his movement was believable, and you can tell that this is an ex-athlete doing this. And so it makes sense. And you could tell the way that he moved, threw his weight around, that this is a guy that was an athlete for a living. But we have a neo-noir, not even romance, because there's not much romance in there, drama type movie where this movie relied solely on dialogue and their ability to emote. But before I go into exactly how I felt about it, what were your initial reactions? Take me through, if you can remember, what your emotions were as you were watching the movie.
My initial emotion, not because the trailer did a very good job of not giving away much of the plot. It just kind of lets you know that this was, like the trailer famously says, this is not a love story, it's a story about love. Yes. So I was interested to see where they were going to take it, not knowing the format it was in, just know it's in black and white. It's got two actors that I respect, in Zendaya and John David Washington. So I was excited to see which way they were going to take it. Of course, you got the great Sam. Everybody thought he was black till they read the synopsis and looked at Wikipedia. Levinson directing and writing this film. So my initial, it was excitement and it was intrigue, especially when you have them coming back home and everything. And as the plot develops, they did a very good job of just giving you more and more nuggets within the plot of where this anger that may be, whether you agree with the way it's being released, whether you think it's right or wrong, where it's coming from for each party. They do a good job of trying to sprinkle that in throughout the movie. Mm-hmm. But I said this on Clubhouse. I felt like the movie should have just been called, I think it's funny how, because I feel like
basically
something, like every time it seemed like things were smooth, there was I think it's funny how, and then shit just hits the fan.
Yo,
like
when I first got married, so the guy who married us, he basically, one of his things was if he was going to marry someone, then he wanted the couple to sit through counseling with him. So we did a couple sessions with him, and there was one nugget that he gave that was it was a wise nugget. Now, do people really follow it? Not really, and they didn't in this movie. But one of the things that he said is there have to be rules. There have to be rules to your arguments. And he was like, you guys have to set the boundaries of the way that you are going to dialogue about things. And he was like, so one of those things, and he just referenced his own marriage, is that we do not bring up old stuff. If we're talking about the way that you leave the milk out, or that you just left the milk out last night and it's spoiled and then I couldn't have my cereal the next day, we're going to talk about that. What you're not going to do is talk about how 5 weeks ago you also did that, blah, blah, blah. His thing is like, if you have a beef, when it happens, address it when it happens instead of piling it up, because then it's not fair to the other person, because then what they end up doing is just becoming defensive, because now you're just throwing bombs at them, and instead of addressing the one issue you have, now they're just trying to defend themselves. And this movie was just a whole lot of, and now that I think about it, why it's just haymaker. I don't know if you felt this, but I felt I was exhausted.
Absolutely.
And
that was me at the 1 hour mark. I was like, there's 40 more minutes of this. Like, bro, they said we're gonna take the gloves off. They didn't just take the gloves off. You ever seen Kickboxer?
Yes.
Like when they do the glass and gauze?
Yeah.
That's what they did. They started wrapping their fists and putting gauze on and dipping their fists in glass. It started going way past taking the gloves off.
We'll get into some of the digs that Malcolm had, which were just like, my God.
Oh, he went off early.
Yeah, like
he did what most men have the tendency to do. He unloaded early.
I've never gotten that. I've never done that. That was some deep stuff.
Well, yeah, as you said, like there should be boundaries to arguments, and there should be things that you shouldn't say. You don't have to be 100% honest, because
True.
Nobody actually wants 100% honesty, male or man or woman.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of take that into account and just realize when you're in an argument, it should be to resolve your issue, not to hurt the other person.
Okay. So between the two, who do you think, I don't want to make it, I know they weren't in it to compete, but who do you think won the film? I mean, it's only the two of them, so. I think
it was set up for it to be, and I think it was pretty successfully Zendaya who won that.
Yes. I think, and again, now that, it's like you're watching a movie and then you're not understanding people's motivations, but I think he did a really good job, Sam did, of
giving us the black experience,
slowly developing like the tension. it was a slow build for like the first 30 minutes, um, until she finished the mac and cheese, which is now like a thing. If your lady's making you mac and cheese at 2 o'clock in the morning, that means you blew it, and now you got to deal with whatever is going on. But
I felt like that was a good bit of symbolism. I know it wasn't supposed to be, but in my crazy head, I made it symbolism because at the time you don't know why they're in that house. You think when they're first parking there, you must think, okay, this is where they live. They own this home.
yeah.
And even though they're in this nice Beverly Hills, Malibu, whatever it may be, home, she's making him macaroni and cheese from the Kraft Blue Box. Like this is who they really are on the inside.
So you know what?
No matter what the trappings around them are.
So tell me, okay, I didn't really think about that much. So, if you can, like elaborate a little bit more.
Well, yeah, I mean, because when you look at their relationship, you might see them on a red carpet, or just in anything. You look at something in the media, or you just look at them in general and how beautiful they are. You must assume that everything in their relationship must be great. You look at somebody living in a house like that, driving a car like that, you must assume everything is great. But Kraft macaroni and cheese does not lend itself to a higher standard of life. It lends itself sometimes to a point in your life where you may be struggling and all you can afford is this $1 box of macaroni and cheese.
That's interesting. I didn't really take it as that. What I took it as is like whoever we are, and I'll get into this a little bit more because I felt like this was Sam Levinson telling us about his business, and he was using these two characters to kind of do that. I interpreted it as like no matter where you get in life, everybody still kind of has that aspect of them that's like, I don't know if homegrown is the term, but like you might elevate to eating here and there. It's funny. I seen an interview. Who's the what's the name of the show that Shannon Sharp does?
It's oh my god, what is that called?
His podcast.
Oh, he has a podcast. I didn't know he had a podcast.
Not the thing with Skip, but
with Skip.
But anyways, he had Rick Ross on there. And he asked Rick Ross about when Rick Ross was gonna originally sign, how it was kind of like a 3-way battle between Jay-Z with Def Jam, Yo Gotti, and Diddy. They all wanted him, and then how he went with, obviously with Jay-Z, and he was like Jay-Z took him to a restaurant that he had never been with, and like they had peanut butter sauce and all of this stuff, and he was like, but there was still a part of me that just wanted some lemon pepper wings from Wingstop. And so, like, when I was looking at this movie, I thought of that as, like, this is just a guy that, like, even though he's reached what seems like, so far, the pinnacle of his career, he still has kind of, like, a modest or meager taste when it comes to certain things.
Oh, no, I can relate to that because the first time I was in, like, a major, quote-unquote, recording studio and they have runners who go get you whatever you want, and I wasn't used to that shit. They were like, oh, yeah, we're gonna get some food. What do you want? And I was like, "What you mean? I got nothing."
Just give me a McChicken from McDonald's. I'll be straight.
Yeah, like they were like, "Oh, well, we're getting an order from." They were like, "Oh, we're getting an order from Boston Nova. What do you want?" And I'm like, "I've only heard of this place." like in the weirdest of terms. So these producers are ordering whatever they want. I'm like, do they just have plain spaghetti?
Exactly.
I'll just take some regular spaghetti, bro. I don't need nothing fancy.
But I could see that because he did mention that they put them up in that house. The company or the
production company put them up in that house. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll buy that. I mean, I didn't really give it that much thought. I just kind of saw that as like one of those clever tools that you use as kind of like not so much sleight of hand, but it's like, hey, I'm going to show you this thing that in the end isn't really important. Like,
yeah,
I think
it could have very well just been, it might just be a MacGuffin and I'm making too much of it for sure.
Like,
that's a very good possibility.
I thought of like the intro to like, Inglourious Bastards, where like they make a big deal about the milk, but the milk doesn't really matter so much. It's just the milk is just a thing, to kind of normalize a situation, which I don't know how normal it is to make mac and cheese at 2 o'clock in the morning, but
that was also my thing. Like, I guess, but once I realized how late it was, I understood because in my head I was like, they didn't eat while they were at this premiere. Why is she making them mac and cheese? But
Now I would say this. So there was a part. So I thought that, but then I also, rebutted myself where it's like I've been to some events where the event is not necessarily about you, but you're involved in it, and there's like a lot of energy and hype going on. And I found that in those type of environments, I don't eat because there's so much going on. If it's something that I have to do, then maybe there's like nerves or whatever. So
that's
then
true.
you find that like, when you get home, you're like, I'm starving. Like I need to eat right now. So that's just kind of the way I seen it. It's like, you have a movie that you fought to get made and it finally got made, and now you're having a premiere and people are loving it. It's like the last thing you're thinking about is what to eat, especially, and even if you wanted to eat, you're being pulled from this person to that person, this interviewer, this person wants to thank you, this person wants to, ask you a question or whatever.
No, you're absolutely right. Because the bigger events that I've put together or hosted, I usually don't eat the whole day.
Yeah, you don't have time. There's just too much going on.
Yeah,
and
there's so much going on, and I'm
exactly.
focused on other things. I don't eat until after the event's over.
So, okay, I'll get this out the way. So I'll get into my, and I don't even want to call it an issue. I'll just get into my what I found that was kind of strange, and it's only because I knew that Sam and Zendaya had done Euphoria, and I felt like maybe the drug addict thing is like you already did it, and I felt like is in like I almost felt like Marie is Rue, who's grown up and successfully went through rehab. Like it seems like she's playing the same person, just like 10 years older. Because I don't remember how old she is in Euphoria, but I know she's in high school, so she's a teenager.
Yeah, she's supposed to be like 15 or 16.
And then they look like maybe
she's 24 in Malcolm and Marie. She's 24.
So I'm thinking this is the same, because you could see some of those same mannerisms, like that kind of like she had, like especially at the beginning, kind of like he's celebrating, going back and forth in what was, I thought, that beautiful shot at the beginning. It was like that one long tape
where it goes back and forth from him walking in the circle and her smoking.
Yeah, she's just kind of sitting there, kind of giving like a face where, I mean, we don't know it at the time, but later it's like she's pissed off and she's just trying to let him have his moment. But it kind of seemed like it was the same character. Like, hey, remember how you were playing Rue? Just do that again for Rue. Do Rue for Marie. But I don't know if that bothered anybody else, or but that was just.
I didn't really get that vibe. I felt like she did a good job of being a different person in this movie than being Rue.
Okay,
but I can totally understand where you're coming from. Is this might just be a more mature, hardened version of Rue for sure.
So the second thing, and these are the only two things, and I understand that movie dialogue in most cases is not real life, and that a lot of times, obviously, some directors do it more than others, where there's like they either use it and try to create it as poetry, like they try to make it sound good, where like in normal dialogue, it doesn't necessarily sound good. People talk over each other, people are interrupted, people stumble over their words, they forget a name, or but in movies they have the dialogue go perfect, where this person talks and then that person talks and then this person talks and the beats are set up. So I get that. But in this movie, and I felt the same vibes in Euphoria, it felt like he obviously had some things on his chest and he wanted to make sure that the audience knew how he felt about certain situations. And a lot of cases for me, it felt like this isn't
like these white devil reviewers.
Yeah, like this didn't it didn't seem real. It seemed like he was really trying to inject something in a way
because of how hard he went on the point of the reviewers. Because that's the one thing that got me. I was like, man, he's really driving this point home. That the longest monologue in the movie is about the reviewers. It's the longest monologue in the whole movie about a relationship movie, where the longest monologue is him being pissed about reviewers.
And it was to the point where it kind of maybe that was his point of giving us a break of them fighting. But in a way, it almost kind of, for a moment, I was almost out of the movie. Where it was,
well, it literally happens 4 times. I mean, you have him in the beginning yelling about it. You have her on top of him telling him about how he's gonna end up making the fucking political Lego movie.
Yeah.
You have him doing it again with a super long monologue, and then you have her again saying that he's a hoe. The ho monologue thing, where it's kind of all just kind of beating the same point home.
Yeah, so it almost seemed like, hey, I'm a director, so let me tell you about my experience with critics, and let me also tell you about how maybe this crazy obsession that I have for the art might have had an effect on my family relationships. And let me use these exaggerated situations as my opportunity to kind of tell what is my story and what I also think is probably the story of a lot of, I don't even want to say just directors. I want to say maybe creatives in general who have to make sacrifices in some way, and in a lot of cases that sacrifice ends up being family.
But that makes sense.
So I just remember feeling like I know, like I'm watching you, and again, I graduated from high school in 2006, so it's been a while since I've been in high school. But I just remember watching some of those scenes, and I was like, "Yo, this is just like not like this is just not real. Like this doesn't happen." But then I also have to remember that like this is like it's almost seemed like a rural town where this was kind of like a middle class town. Like, it seemed like nobody here is really struggling. So maybe those situations are different than where I am, where like a lot of people are on like, what was it called when like, what was the lunch called where like reduced lunch or something like that?
Yeah.
For like,
we just called it free lunch.
Yeah. For like struck. So like, I forget what the name of the main football jock was, but I remember thinking
Nate?
Nate, like, yo, this white kid is getting his ass kicked in. like he's not doing this at my school. Like, there's no way that all these blacks and Mexicans are gonna let this white dude run around here like he's like.
Well, bro, there's barely any blacks and Mexicans in the show. Yeah, this is definitely a Degrassi neighborhood, as I like to call it. Anytime there's a neighborhood in the show where there's not a real black influence, it's a Degrassi neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like,
there's the one kid who was, I think, older than him, because I think he was in college. Like, he was in college.
Yeah, the black kid. Yeah,
him.
Yeah, the black kid in college.
And then Rue's mom. Those are like the only black people.
Yeah, but the black kid in college is bitch made too, though. So I mean,
so those are my only two. I don't even want to necessarily call them gripes, but they were just one thing where I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it, but I still felt like overall it was a pretty decent movie.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It is exhausting. I feel like it could have been cut down a bit. I don't think it needed to be an hour and 40 minutes. I really don't.
See, so you felt like it was too long?
I do. So, I felt like at some point it felt like you were beating a dead horse with their arguments. Even when they tried to introduce new things into it, it just felt like you could have cut this down a bit, man.
True.
Like,
I don't think. No, go ahead.
Yeah, it just felt like, especially at the tail end when she does her last monologue about what he should have said on stage. That could have happened in the monologue before that. Like, it could have been wrapped up.
Yeah.
15 to 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah. So in the movie, I never felt in the movie like, okay, when is this movie going to be over? But there was a point when we're getting towards the end and kind of like that climactic scene where she's kind of giving the whole thing. Sorry guys, we're really not spoiling, but I might spoil. So if you haven't seen it, so far, we've managed to avoid really any spoilers.
Yeah, we haven't said anything that they've actually said to one another.
But I'm about to right now. So
okay.
There's that last scene where she's kind of basically getting to the crux of what she should have got to an hour before, which is basically like, I just wanted you to say thank you. That's all, which is what just about every woman who is with a person, or any spouse who is with a person who is successful and they had some type of influence in that person getting to where they got. It's like at one point you just want somebody to just say thank you, like acknowledge the fact that I've been around here. But when we got right before that, I remember looking at the clock and thinking, dang, it's only been an hour and a half, but it felt like I had been there for like 5 hours. It
Yeah,
felt
that runtime was heavy,
it
man.
felt like it felt like, and I guess maybe that's what he wanted because it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you would imagine like everybody's tired, and like I just felt tired with them. Like like can we just all go to sleep? Like let's just all go to sleep and talk about this later. But okay, so I wanted to read to you some reviews of how some people who didn't necessarily feel about the movie had to say. So here's one.
Okay.
I'm not going to say any names of who they are, but here's one. This movie was exactly what I was expecting when I saw the poster. It is insanely pretentious. That it is sometimes cringeworthy. That's one. Another. This movie starts out really solid. The first 20 minutes feels like a really good short film. The movie should have just ended there. Basically, after that, the conversation and conflict between characters just go in circles for another hour and a half. It's basically pointless. Movie is also very pretentious. A lot of people use the term pretentious here.
I understand why people said pretentious. Malcolm is definitely pretentious. There's no way around it. He's pretentious. But I can also understand if it was a short film, it would be a 10 out of 10. I'll say that.
Where would you have ended it if it was a short?
About 30, 40 minutes in.
Is that when he was in the tub with her? Or when she was in the tub? So after
that
I think
scene, you probably would have cut? You could have came to the resolution. I feel like everything else after that was a bit much.
Okay. So what would you? Well, I don't know if I ever really got it. What would your overall review be if someone was to ask you, "Hey, Cam, what do you think about this movie?"
I'd say that the actors did a good job. I feel like it was well directed. I just feel like it is the runtime wears on you, and it's not for everybody. Everybody's not in for the heavy super. It's literally just dialogue, and well, the soundtrack's quality too. But I would definitely say this is a look into a toxic relationship, and the runtime may run on you. I guess that would be the simplest way for me to put
it. So we kind of talked about who you thought won the movie, but tell me about how you felt about John's performance.
I loved it. I feel like John is really just showing you the whole bag. Like in the past few years, like I can do a show. I'm on Ballers. I can do Black Klansman. I can do a Spike Lee style movie with a little bit of humor to it. I can do Tenet, where I'm essentially being an action hero.
Yeah.
I can do Malcolm and Marie, where I'm carrying monologues in just a tour. It's just two people. So I feel like he's really just showing you the full gamut of what he can do as an actor. I'm happy he's making these moves right now. He's doing great.
And you know what I really like the most is that he's not trying to do a Denzel Jr.
Exactly. That whole Denzel son thing is always weak, bro. Like you can't say that.
Honestly, other than sometimes just the tone of his voice sounding like his dad, which is what usually happens with a son and his father.
The inflection kind of comes through.
I don't get any vibes of Denzel from him. Like I don't get any vibes, which to me is great. And I think
the only father-son combo I can think where it doesn't is Kiefer and Donald Sutherland. I've never listened to Donald Sutherland talk and then think, yeah, Kiefer sounds like this.
Yeah.
Denzel, I hear it. I can hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it. But there's nothing he can do about that. It's just like the way.
Yeah, no, there's nothing he can do about that. But he's also said he's still separating himself as an actor, though, and it's dope to see.
I mean, if you think about it, so far he's done 3 movies.
Yes.
So far he has worked with Spike Lee, Christopher Nolan, and now Sam Levinson.
A little bit of a drop down here, but Sam's on his way.
Yeah. But he's it seems like he's getting some shots. So
yeah, he worked with the Black Voice for some of a generation. He worked with the Notour of my personal pick of the Notour of our generation, and then he worked with Sam Levinson. So I mean, it's quality. And he's done stuff with The Rock. What hasn't he's on his way, man. He's on his way.
That was my introduction to him. Actually, was in Ballers.
Yeah,
I think was that all of our introduction? Was that his first?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's the first thing you should. Yeah.
So I think with the, I'll close out this movie by getting a little bit into what some of the critics had to say, but I think the criticisms that I had and that you have, which aren't too different, I think I was a little bit. I gave him some slack because this was a movie. I think they made this in like really when COVID was really really starting to ramp up.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? In a time where we're seeing all these movies that are just kind of like lazily being made, or
there are a lot of them, yes,
just kind of like copies. I appreciated the fact that it's like, hey, what can we do with the limitations that are in front of us? And okay, let's just find this cool looking house and just follow this couple around for an hour and a half and see what happens. So that was kind of refreshing. Again, even though I've kind of had I have some feelings about his dialogue, I always appreciate, and you know this because I'm a Quentin guy, so I always appreciate directors trying to take a stab at interesting dialogue, even if and in some cases in his it just got a little bit heavy, where it's just kind of like there's a lot going on here. But speaking,
Malcolm, John David Washington started throwing out some wild big words for no reason.
Like, well, okay, so then this will go to my last point, because it seemed like this was literally Sam getting off his takes, and he was using John's character to do it. And do you think that this is a reason why maybe he's gotten some of the negative reviews that he's gotten, or do you think the negative reviews are warranted?
Do I think he's gotten some of the negative reviews because
he just bashed reviewers basically in his movies?
I think that doesn't help, but I feel like a lot of the flack he's getting is from black viewers and a lot of black reviewers as well, just because he's not black and he wrote this movie. Even though to me he wasn't necessarily always speaking to the black experience, just relationship experience.
Now, I would tell you that not once did I ever think like this is a uniquely black story
at all. Yeah, but I've seen a lot of think pieces. I've seen a lot of Clubhouse rooms, as we mentioned Clubhouse earlier, where people are very, he's not in a place to speak on the experiences of these black people, and you know.
I didn't even go that deep. You know what?
Yeah, honestly, I was very surprised by that.
To me, and I've been preaching about this for a while, I am okay with you making a movie that isn't like uniquely a black experience, but that has black people in it. Because black people,
you want to see more of that.
Because black people don't just go through things that are uniquely black. Like we deal with things that white people deal with, you know, all across the gambit. So like you don't have to put us into only black movies.
A box. No, absolutely. That's why I didn't try to take that away from the movie at all.
Yeah. So I respected that, but it's interesting how directors will include the process of movie making in their movies.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm a director, I make movies. So in this movie that I'm directing, I'm going to bring up directing and movie making, which I don't know, maybe it's just a passion thing. It's kind of hard not to talk about it because of what it is that they do, and you just kind of like inundated with it. But yeah, so I thought it was a good movie. I don't really ever care too much about what Rotten Tomatoes has to say about things or whatever. But in case you wanted to know, wait, where I just had it. Well, IMDb gives it a 6.7 rating, which is a little lower than where I would have had it.
It's mediocre to them, yeah.
Yeah, I had it around a good 7, 8, kind of, you know, only because
I couldn't give it an 8. I think the highest, I think a 6.7. You said?
Yeah, that's.
I think that might be a bit accurate. I don't know how much replay value I have in this movie.
True.
And if at any point I feel like your runtime is gone, it drags a bit, it's gonna affect my ability, especially if I don't want to watch your movie again. Like the perfect example, because I've been watching the hell out of this movie. Just the fact that I've been watching the hell out of this movie again because of how much I love it, but. You look at a movie that can be 2.5 hours like Goodfellas, and I've watched it like 2 or 3 times this week, and it's 2.5 hours, but it doesn't feel like it's 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? There's ways to make a movie entertaining, even if it's just dialogue. I think if they implemented the music a little bit better into some of the pieces of the film, it might have helped as well. But there are ways to make your movie not feel as long as it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with. I think where I gave it a couple extra points was in the originality and the fact that I'm willing to give you a little bit of a nod if I can tell that this is like a piece that you're trying to play with like I always like when directors are trying to play with the medium. Like, this is what we have, these are the tools. Let's see what we can do that's interesting, rather than kind of like a safer movie that just ends up being boring. But yeah, I don't know if only just because it's just so heavy, and I just don't know if I just don't know if I have the emotional bandwidth to just keep watching something like that. Like, that's not the type of movie that you can just put on and like wash the dishes.
Oh, for sure. It's like on. After the bathtub scene, I went, God damn. I was like, man,
you gotta be in there, and you have to be there
a lot.
And it's just, my God. I mean, my God. Again, I didn't want to get too much into spoilers because it's still fairly fresh. But
yeah, literally just came out. What? 2 weeks ago now? A week ago?
Yes. And I'll use that as a segue. Just this past Friday, and I'm gonna try to not give spoilers, but if I feel like we're getting there,
I feel like, let's be honest, man. This is a movie that can be spoiled. It's literally history, people.
Well,
this is not something you shouldn't know about.
But you'd be
especially on Black History Month.
You'd be surprised. Listen,
and also it's in the title. Like, it's in the title.
What they taught us about the same 5 Black people when we was in school. They taught us about.
Oh no, hey, you're absolutely right. Also, if you're a fan of Jay-Z, you already know this story.
Yes,
we got to get into that too at the end of this. By the way, we got to get into that too.
Yes. Oh, like the song, or just Jay-Z?
No, the Jay-Z backlash that we've now experienced because of this movie and Jay-Z being on the soundtrack, and people saying that Fred Hampton would have hated Jay-Z because he was a black capitalist and Fred Hampton was a socialist.
I don't know if he would have hated him, but.
Oh,
anyways,
man,
we'll get into that. Okay, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. So, this past Friday, Shaka King's Judas and the Black Messiah came out. Let me pull it up because I don't like to miss people's names.
Yeah, we got Daniel Kaluuya, Fred Hampton. We had Lakeith Stanfield playing Bill O'Neill. We had Dominic Fishback playing Deborah Johnson.
Yeah, who's that one guy? He's in all of these. Jesse Plemons,
the white guy.
Yeah.
It's funny. The first time I saw him was on Black Mirror.
Oh, really? I think he was in Like Mike.
Oh, wow. Fun fact, never really paid attention to Like Mike. It was on once. I didn't pay attention to it.
Yeah, he was in Like Mike, and he was a hater.
Oh, was he?
So God, I'm talking about Like Mike. So Lil Bow Wow's character, they were like in an orphanage. And so Bow Wow finds these old Jordan 1s.
See, I didn't even know he was in an orphanage.
Yeah. and he puts them on, and because he was wearing the Jordans, he was like Mike. And he ends up making it to the pros, but there's another kid in the orphanage that's hating on him because he thinks like, oh, this is his ticket out of the orphanage. And you know how like the thing is like when kids get too old, nobody really wants to take an older kid. Yeah. So he was kind of hating, and then he finds out that the shoes help him, and he like damaged the shoes so that it ends up working out in the end. But he's playing. I
will say I remember the exact moment I tuned out of that movie. I remember the exact moment of the film, and it wasn't even the premise. It wasn't the plot. It's when he's playing against Jason Kidd.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of outrageous things happening on the court.
And he's like, Jason Kidd says something along the lines of he's not in the sandbox anymore. And Bow Wow says, yeah, well, at least my last name's not Kidd. And I said, turn this off. Turn this off right now. Come on, man, I'm not watching this, bro.
Come on, man. You don't like Shad Moss as an actor?
Listen, Shad Moss said he's going to the WWE since he's surprisingly about to retire after this new album that nobody asked for.
Oh, is another album coming out?
See,
I'm not hating. I just didn't know. I don't.
No, it's not hate. It's just you. In order to hate, you have to care.
He hadn't.
Like, you don't care. Nobody does.
He hasn't put out music in a while, so I just didn't know he was still active.
I believe he has. We just don't care.
Oh, he has. Oh, sorry.
Don't apologize. You just don't care. It's fine.
I don't really follow the music scene a whole lot, so if you're not like, if you're not making any noise, I'm probably not gonna find you because I'm not doing any digging. So
he is a leaf in the forest.
Yes. Yeah. That's probably that's a good explanation. So, anyways, that guy's in it, and he plays an FBI agent, not CIA agent. So I'll say that I could say this because this is like in the previews. It doesn't even really give anything away. Lakeith's character gets busted, and like most informants, they're given an option: either you go to jail or you can stay out. But when we ask you to do stuff, you gotta do stuff. So they ask him to infiltrate the Panthers and get.
One thing to keep in mind too is that he's a very young dude at this point. He wasn't very old. Both of them, Lakeith and Fred.
Fred was 20. Very, very Fred was young. 21 when he died.
Yeah, 21 years old. Lakeith was not much older because when he died in 1990, he was 40.
Yeah.
So he was not much older. So he was looking at a year for Grand Theft Auto and then 5 years for impersonating a federal agent.
Yeah, his name was Bill O'Neill.
Yeah, William O'Neill.
Which is crazy. I didn't know about how he had died.
I didn't know about how he died either. So that was
him. Because you would think enough time had passed that maybe he had just learned to live with whatever he had done. But then I guess maybe when that documentary came out.
I don't know if you ever would be able to live with what you've done at that point.
Well, maybe you're able to kind of like play
compartmentalize it.
Yeah, but then when you see it on film and you realize like, yo, you really were the guy that offed this dude who was just trying to help his community. Then yeah, I think it might have got to him. But I mean, if you don't really know about Fred Hampton's story, he was a part of the Chicago chapter of the Panthers. He's a chairman
of the Chicago. Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of highlights. The story starts when he's. I guess I don't know. Has he peaked at this? I mean.
No, he had not. He had not peaked when they first entered. He was about to peak.
So we're seeing his rise, which
you're seeing the rise. Yeah, once he really brings in the crowns and he's starting the Rainbow Coalition and things of that nature. Once he really gets out of jail, is ultimately the peak of Fred Hampton.
Unfortunately, his rise wasn't that long, but we get to see his rise, and we got a little bit of a peek at Well, we had Martin Sheen who played Hoover.
Man, that's the most despicable role Martin Sheen's ever played. I've never seen Martin Sheen play somebody that crappy of a person.
Yeah.
To this point, I have to look back at his filmography, but he's always usually a pretty honorable dude.
I'm always interested on whether or not I know. Oh God, why can't I think of his name? Sherling Brown. Is that his name?
Who is this?
He's the one. Sherling. I think he's on This Is Us. He was
Sterling K. Brown.
Sterling Brown. And I remember seeing an interview where because he was Chris Darden in The People vs. O.J. Simpson. And he didn't want to take the role at first because he was like, Christopher Darden in the black community is seen as a sellout. Like he's an Uncle Tom. Like that's what people call him. So he's like, he didn't want to take that role. And I almost wonder if there's ever any apprehension with some actors to not take a role that they think might, because you and I, like it happens where like there are characters that we like don't like we don't like them in real life because they played like a despicable person.
I gotta be honest. There's only one person like that for me.
Who is?
There's only one, and you're gonna be shocked when I tell you. But I will say to that point, Lakeith did have that same apprehension for the role of Will O'Neill.
Yeah.
He did. He voiced it in a lot of interviews he's done since he's done it. That it took him a minute to really be like he would get mad. Like the scene where the most important thing that he does in that movie towards the end. He said it took him a while to actually be able to film that scene.
I can imagine you are having to portray a guy doing things that you loathe. Like you hate that he did this, but you have to portray it, and not just portray it. You have to, as a respect to the craft, you have to do it honestly,
to the best of your ability. Yeah.
instead of
and try to make it seem like there's some type of redeemability when it's
you have to take on this role as if you are that guy, which I would imagine is a very difficult thing to have to do. Okay, real fast, who's the guy, who's the actor you hate because of their role?
So once again, I'm very, very good at separating an actor from their roles, and I usually commend them if they play a role that makes me just hate the character, but I respect their craft more. I literally loathe this person now because of this movie, and it's Orlando Bloom for Troy.
Wait, but he wasn't bad, and he wasn't a bad guy in Troy.
He was. Am I allowed to curse on this?
Okay, God damn.
Am I allowed to curse?
Wait, hold on. Okay, yeah, you can curse. Okay, wait, hold on. I've been wanting to get this take off for a while. But there's never been a situation in which, like, somebody said, "Hey, let's talk about Troy." So, like, I hate, like, there's so many times throughout that movie where I'm like, yo, and it's not just Orlando, it's him and whoever plays the dad.
Oh, he was a good actor too. I forget. Go ahead.
Because there's so many times where Orlando is like, "Hey guys, this isn't a good idea," and they're like, "No." Either because
it's Hector who's like, "It's not a good idea."
Yeah, Hector. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Hector. Yeah, sorry.
His brother. Yeah.
So it's Hector that's like, "Hey, don't take that man's wife. It's not good.
Yeah,
but I love her. Hey, Dad, we shouldn't do this, but the gods have spoken." And it's Hector that ends up dying.
Yeah, Hector has to sacrifice himself. That's why, dog.
Because you dumbasses won't listen to me. I'm telling you, this is not a good idea.
Hector, dog. I'm trying to tell. When I tell you, I hate Orlando Bloom for this movie.
He was so stupid. He was so stupid in that movie.
Because I don't like Lord of the Rings, but I always thought, you know who's cool? Legolas. I like Orlando Bloom's character.
Yes.
I watched Troy, and I have never watched Lord of the Rings again. Like,
wait, really?
I never have again. I literally like. He's such a hoe. Like, how are you? Well, it's your fault this is happening.
I mean, in
your brother says, "Hey, yo, don't do this." You do it anyway.
Multiple times.
You getting beat up, and you crawl to your brother's feet and hug his foot for help, and your brother got to do it, and because of that, your brother gets killed, and then you kill Achilles on some behind the back sneaky man. Get out of here, bro.
Oh yeah, he did. Hit him yeah, it's angry. Yeah.
That's the only one. Everybody else, I can deal with it.
I'm okay with Lord of the Rings because, like, it's to the point where he plays that character so well, and I guess and a lot of the makeup and everything helps to where it's like I don't think that I'm looking at Orlando Bloom. Like, he's not as recognizable to me playing that character with the ears and the blonde hair and everything. But yeah,
after Troy and after Lord of the Rings, he ain't been nowhere really. I mean, he's in a couple more of the Pirates movies, but you don't really see him much, and I think that's a good thing because I just can't stand that guy.
I hate him in that movie. I hate him in that movie. Oh
my God, I hate him in that. I even forgave Ron Perlman for Sons of Anarchy. If I forgive Ron Perlman for Sons of Anarchy, come on, man. That
I might have to do a podcast because I really have a thing. It's funny, like I remember you saying that you're not a big fan of like war movies. For me, I really love war movies. And I really love period pieces. Those are like, as far as genres, I don't know if you really call those individual genres, but I'm almost always into a war movie or a period piece. And Troy happens to be both.
I feel like any war movie is a drama. So I feel like it just falls under that.
Yeah. So, I mean, my grandmother didn't like that movie because.
Which one, Troy?
Yes. Because she saw Brad Pitt and didn't really believe Brad Pitt. Like, she was like, Brad Pitt playing a god? Like, that's the way she seen it. It's like, here's this cute kid that's supposed to be playing a Greek god, and I guess for her that was like she
believed him as a vampire.
On the flip, she loved Gerard Butler in 300 because she felt like, and it was a really uncomfortable conversation because it's like, Big Mama, why am I talking to you about this? And she's like low-key lusting over Gerard Butler, and I'm like, I don't like this conversation because you're talking about these men in this movie and you like the fact that they look manly, but But I do love the scene when he calls out Hector and smokes him.
Oh, that scene is crack.
That's a fantastic scene. And again, it sucks because here's Hector dying because his stupid brother and his stupid dad, but he's the one that ends up catching that little double
and
spin
everybody
joint.
knew he was about to die.
Yeah, it was a wrap.
Everybody
knew. They knew it was
you
over.
You ain't beating Achilles, man. You ain't doing that.
They knew it was over. That's why he was kissing his wife. He's kissing his wife,
kissing his kid.
He's
like, man, look, man.
Kiss his kid. I shouldn't be laughing at this.
Go ahead, man.
We're supposed to be talking about Judas the Black Messiah, but we got off some Troy takes. I love Troy, by the way. It's just that's another long movie.
It's okay. It's aged badly for me, but when I first saw it, I loved it.
There's a point in which there's a point in which I don't want I turn off the movie, and it's just about after he kills Hector. Then it's like okay,
and then now, he lets the one dude go, and
it's like okay, now I'm over it. Like at the beginning when we get all the battle scenes, like those are great. I love all those scenes. Despicable characters. He has to play Hoover, who is notorious for his COINTELPRO, which was one of the was it a document or was it I don't remember exactly.
COINTELPRO was like a organization within the
where they're just infiltrating people that they think are a threat to the government, and most of those people,
national security.
Yeah, most of those people happen to be black people. So this movie is making me and I guess this is a testament to how good the film is now I just want to give off all of my political takes, where I kind of have a take about how America's fear or of communism, which I thought was massively overhyped. Like what we thought communism was supposed to be, like it wasn't even that big of a thing. Like communism ended up destroying itself in most places. Mm-hmm. But it's like they destroyed the black community out of fear, partly because they don't like black people.
I was gonna say I don't know if communism is the real reason they did it.
Well, because
it was more so there were black people becoming more conscious and developing in general, not just communism.
So I'm always torn about which of the two is it. Is it that you're so afraid of communism that anybody who's speaking in a way that seems communistic, you're afraid, or you're using communism as the excuse to go after these people?
Well, let's put it like this, bro.
Like people, if you look
at there was a large guild of white people who were affluent in Hollywood who were accused of propaganda and communism, and the fear of them made them there were giant trials and witch hunts for these people. Yep. But you know what they did? They put them in jail. They got out and they got to live their lives. Let's see about the black people they did that to.
99 bullets.
Yeah, they didn't give them 99 bullets while you were already sedated. There's a difference, bro. Like they knock you off if you're black and they feel like you're a threat. It ain't communism. If it was communism, they'd have bumped off all them white people. It's not about that. It's about the color of their skin. It's the fear of the black planet, man.
We're supposed to be getting into the political takes, but
too bad, brother. It's too bad my kufi on now.
I definitely, my third eye is open. My third eye is open. But so it's just like it's one of those movies, and I know you said this. This is why I was shocked when you finally texted me and told me that about how you. I was like, oh, so you watched it? I didn't think you were gonna watch it.
I can't believe I watched it. But I knew it was gonna trigger me.
See, so that's what we're doing right now. We are acting out being triggered by this movie because it was triggering to an extent because you knew what was gonna happen, but it was it was still frustrating knowing that this is a thing that actually happened. Like this is the thing that.
Quick side note: the black kid from Euphoria, the one who plays football, the one who's older.
He's in it, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the movie.
He's in it. Homie, what is his name? Because I know he's getting a lot of traction.
The dude from the Last Black Man in San Francisco. His name's like Austin something, right?
I think so. Is that the same kid from Moonlight?
Yeah, he's in Moonlight. He's in Equalizer 2. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's been getting a lot of.
Mm-hmm. There was also was it Native Son or something like that that came out on HBO?
And there was a Netflix movie that came out with him and Jeffrey Wright. Yeah,
where they're going through the town, like trying to get something back, like him and the dad or whatever. Yeah, I recall that. I didn't get to watch it though.
It's okay, but yeah, I saw him in that. So he's So they had a lot of which is another thing that I wasn't going to talk about this, but I appreciate the fact that we're getting to the point now where we're starting to see the next generation of black actors getting their nods instead of just like, hey, let's just get Denzel, Morgan Freeman, and Samuel Jackson and rehearse them in every movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more side note. I'm so glad that now my lasting memory of Dominic Fishback will be this and not Project Power. She's the black girl in Project Power that's like selling the drugs. Yeah.
So you saw Project Power? We're not here to talk about Project Power. Let me not even go. Let's not go into Project Power.
Yeah, I saw Project. We could have a Drink Champs episode.
Let's not go into Project Power. But yes, that was my first time seeing. I didn't think she was terrible in it. I just wasn't a fan of them.
It's just a movie.
I wasn't a fan of them making her rap. It just kind of.
I was going to say any movie with a freestyle section, I'm turned off immediately. There was no. Come on, man.
That's kind of weird to me, but
yeah, she can rap. I know Dominic Fishback can rap in real life, but I don't need that scene, bro.
Yeah.
Why don't you spit a flow for me?
So she was great. She was fantastic.
Yeah, she wasn't the problem with that movie. That movie was just badly
Listen,
written.
when it comes to this movie, I can't really think of anybody where like there's no role where I thought like it was ill casted. Like I can't think of
everybody was great.
I can't think of any role. There was one part that kind of threw me off just a little bit. Is Lil Rel's character. Just a little bit. I was like, that guy.
That part seemed really weird. That was a really weird part of the movie, for sure.
Okay, sorry guys, this is a little bit of a spoiler. So was he supposed to be playing also an FBI informant?
I assume so, yeah. I assume he was another informant that they had, because obviously they point out that there was multiple informants around the area. They even one thing that I've heard in interviews by Shaka King is something that they used as like kind of like a buzz thing for how they were building up this movie before they even made it was going to be like kind of like a documentary or like a biopic meets The Departed. Yes. And one of the big things about The Departed, if you've never seen it, get your life together. I'm spoiling it. I don't care. Is that there's multiple rats in that movie.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's kind of where that came into, where he's confused by the fact that he knows who he is. And it's because I'm in the same boat as you, bro. We're doing the same thing.
Yeah. Because what was it? Like his own ID that he gave him? Like he
gave him back. Because remember in the very beginning when he does the whole robbery with the fake badge,
one. Yeah, that was it. He gave it to him.
Jesse Plemons takes it from him, and says, "I better hold on to this then." So when he gives it that back to him, then he knows, like, I can't get out of this. I'm stuck in this.
Yeah. Okay, so let's actually talk about the movie.
Okay.
I thought we talked about this a little bit, but even though the movie is more centered around Lakeith's character, I thought that was Daniel's movie, and I felt that it was, you know what it was? After watching that, I was almost tempted to go back and listen to Fred Hampton speeches, but I didn't. Cuz they're
very captivating stuff, man.
I know it is. And I just wanted to give it time, because what I didn't want to do was compare and say, "Oh, I didn't like how he tried to portray him." I just wanted,
no, I will say he was dang near spot on, bro.
Because I know I read a lot of his stuff after this, and it's like, okay, yeah, they really captured that he was a guy, and this is still crazy in thinking that he was only 21, and
21 years old, bro.
He had that type of skill in speaking and writing in a way that made you want to at least listen to what he had to say, which they portrayed in the movie, where he walks into what seemed like it wasn't a Klan meeting, but it was
a very like white nationalist vibe.
It was a step or two,
Yeah, it was a few hoods away,
and is able to capture and captivate those guys because there is a common threat. And I've made this statement before, is that it's funny, but like when you really like tear down a lot of the horrible stuff. When you look at some of the stuff that a lot of like white nationalists are upset at, it's it's a lot of stuff that a lot of black groups are upset at.
Yeah, they're just echoing what we're saying on it with a white filter on it.
Yeah, like government is doing too much. They're taking stuff away from us. We don't like the police overstep, blah, 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 all these things. You know, it just looks different when you're white than when you're black. But it's like him kind of picking on that when he's going to these different groups and saying that like there's an issue with police overstepping and mistreating poor people, and that's kind of, you know, and it seemed like I commend Shaka for doing that. I mean, even though that's what Hampton did in real life, it felt like the Rainbow Coalition was a thing that I think he really wanted to make sure that he highlighted, so that, I mean, you're gonna get critiques about it anyway, but so that people wouldn't just say, oh, they're making this another militant movie about black people. But it was like, no, that coalition was not just gonna be black people. There were all of Chicago, all of the poor, mistreated people of Chicago were trying to get together and help out each other.
Rise up and change things, yeah.
But, you know.
And that's the other thing I wanted to point out was, like, as far as his portrayal, his wife and son were heavily involved. They were on the set like almost every day for the filming of the movie.
Oh, they were? Oh, nice.
Yeah, they were. They were consulted. They got their blessing first before they even shot the movie.
I would see why that would be a good thing to do.
Yeah, and then, like, I think I want to say after like the first like week and a half, 2 weeks, then they arrived and they were there from then on as far as the filming goes.
So I saw.
But just wait till you watch a lot of his speeches. You're gonna be like, dang, Daniel Kaluuya really did that, man.
I mean, I remember some having, like, watching some in the past. I just didn't want to watch it right after seeing because I was afraid that I would hear something and then not like Daniel's performance. Like, I really like Daniel's performance, and I didn't want anything to spoil the way I felt about his portrayal.
I want to say that Daniel Kaluuya is a wizard because he has one of the deepest, strongest accents of any British man you will ever meet. And then he comes into these movies and just disappears. You can't even, like, once again, I hate to go back to some white medium. Sorry, black folks. But once again, with Sons of Anarchy, I love that show. But Charlie Hunnam, his accent be coming out so much in that show. And he's supposed to be a white kid from California. Like, some actors just can't do a good job of hiding their accent consistently. When they're getting emotional, when something major has happened, it just comes out. You don't hear that with Daniel Kaluuya.
Daniel's accent is thick with 2 C's.
It's ridiculously thick.
And I love his mannerisms. It's funny. I saw a tweet where it says someone should put together a compilation video of Daniel tilting his head. And now that I think about it, he does do a really good job with his nonverbal. Like, even right now, I'm thinking of the scene in Black. I'm thinking of the scene in Black Panther.
I'm thinking of the scene in Widows.
Well, when he that one scene where he like kind of like looks under because the guy's head is down. But I'm thinking like the scene in Black Panther when they try to get Claw, but they fail, and he comes in and he's like looking around. He was like, "Where's Claw?" Because he just expects that he got him, and he was like, we didn't get him. And there's the look that he gets that goes from like genuine excitement. Like, I think he genuinely believes
complete disappointment.
Yeah, he genuinely believed that his guy got him. Like, why would I not believe that he can get him? You're the Black Panther. Of course you got him.
He promised me. Yeah, he promised me.
And then it went from like that almost childlike exuberance, and you could see, and like, so that's when I knew then, like, yeah, he can really emote in a way that, you know, it's a way that separates the best from just kind of like some of the more middle of the road actors, is that when they're not talking, they give you almost more than what they give you when they are speaking. But I love this movie. I thought it was captivating from the beginning. I felt like it was informative. I felt like it wasn't preachy, which is what I don't like when period pieces get preachy.
Like, oh yeah, I could just imagine how preachy this movie would have been in the hands of Spike Lee. Like,
yeah,
Spike
like don't
he gets too heavy-handed.
Don't add more. Like, to me, I feel like if you're going to do a biopic, then I believe you. I would assume that you're doing it because whoever you're doing it on lived such a captivating life or was involved in such a crazy ordeal that you don't have to do any more to it. Like the material is there. Like he's doing the preaching, so you don't have to give it a, like I don't think the two of us ever talked about the Five Bloods. I was a fan of the movie, but there's a part at the end where like it kind of has like recent like Black Lives Matter groups, and it's like it's the one thing about Spike that I don't kind of like sometimes is where he takes us out of the movie and then adds like real footage and stuff like that. But
yeah, at some points of the Five Bloods it was done well, and at other points it was just
it just kind of felt like you were a little too much preaching. Like you didn't have to preach, just kind of let the story go. And
you got these great actors acting their ass off. Just let them act their ass off. Like we don't need the Japanese woman giving us the Korean woman giving us the rundown of exposition.
Exactly, but so I felt like it speaks to you, but in a way that's not forcing itself on you. Like we already talked about the acting is great. So I guess I'll transition to this because you mentioned it. I know there's a lot of buzz about the song. What is it? Is it called What It Feels Like or Feels Like?
Yeah, What It Feels Like.
With the late Nipsey Hussle and Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so I listened to the song when it dropped Thursday night. And then I listened to it again after the movie, and I liked it more after the movie than I did before the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because after just being in the vibe, because I like literally once the movie was over, I listened to the song, and I felt the vibes.
Let me just say that soundtrack is amazing overall.
Yeah, it is.
Anybody hasn't listened to the soundtrack?
It is, but okay. So obviously, I think what people are finding out by this podcast is, unlike you, I don't really do a lot of following of what people are saying about stuff like that. So
Which is for the best.
Probably. I think I like to insulate myself to an extent, but I didn't know that there were a lot of people upset about, you know what? Actually, really quick, before we go to that, while I was watching this, the first thing I thought, I said, I wonder if the Hoteps are going to start slandering Hampton because he was willing to work with white people.
That I have not seen, because I would start swinging if I saw that.
Unlike Malcolm, he's Rainbow Coalition, and I know like the Dr. Umars of the world would rather us be more self-insulated instead of reaching out to other people. It was almost like if we're looking, it almost seemed like he was the mix, and I guess it would make sense because he came after them, but he was almost seemed like the mix of Malcolm and Martin. Like Martin in that, we want to protect and defend ourselves, and black wellness and all of that stuff, but Martin in that, like, there has to be a science to this and a way to get what we really want to get. We got to get certain people on our side, in order to soften, so to say, the impact of what it is that we're trying to do. I mean, it's hard. If we got white people standing next to us, maybe they'll listen to us a little bit easier, if we have more people. So that is a thought that came to my head. Like, I wonder if some of the more militant black, and I wonder if even back then did he get that from them, because like you're trying to deal with the white people, instead of just us. But so I take it these same people that I was worried would do that to him are doing that to Jay-Z.
Yeah, there's been a big movement of Fred Hampton would have hated Jay-Z. That's been going on.
What is their argument for that?
Well, Jay-Z is there are some speech segments where one could basically, we're familiar with subliminals in today's hip hop.
Yes.
Some would say that like future proofing his speeches, he might have been taking shots at Jay-Z with his shots at the black capitalist who tries to, make their living off the black person's pain within the white person's halls. And how he would not stand for that, and how he would grab them by their shirt collars and beat the hell out of them. Like, so it's like one could try to say, oh, he's talking about somebody like Jay-Z who, and it doesn't help that Jay-Z did the whole thing with the Kaepernick stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't help that he went that way and tried to say kneeling is done, and then cuts a deal with the NFL and gets this bag from the NFL, and it doesn't even really try to help the situation. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't help.
Real quick, you want to know
what people view him as.
You want to know what really made me think about this whole thing differently? Is did you ever watch Stephen A. Smith's interview on All the Smoke?
No, I did not.
So he talks about we've gone through so many tangents. This is fantastic. He talks about the Kaepernick what do you call it? The workout.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Jay-Z was really behind it. Like, that doesn't happen if Jay-Z's, this is according to Stephen A. Smith, is that this doesn't happen if Jay-Z is not in tandem with the NFL. And
yeah, I'd heard that part.
And that his camp was upset when Kaepernick eventually didn't do that one and then had his own joint. I guess feeling like, hey, we kind of stuck our neck out there and gave you a shot, and basically we shamed them into giving you a shot, and then you didn't take the shot and use that as a time to, like, you know, and I'm not judging him for what he did, but that, you know, anyways. So yeah, I know.
I was gonna say, because that whole situation was fucked from
there's
a
there's a lot.
So
there's a lot.
He talked to him and got him the shot. But the shot was it was handicapped against Kaepernick from the jump.
True.
And Stephen A. pissed me off with his stance on that whole situation.
It's
like, Stephen A. is.
It's interesting because I've also heard because I also heard some takes from other athletes that are like, "Yo, Kaepernick got more heads up than most free agents get trying to get a job. Like when a team calls you, like they're like, "Yo, come tomorrow and work out." So,
the heads up wasn't the problem for me at all.
Yeah, okay. We're not even. There's a whole lot.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that wasn't the issue for me.
The whole situation.
His heads up was just fine.
Yeah, the whole situation.
But he always said he's ready. He's been ready.
Yeah, it was the whole thing was convoluted. There's a lot going on. A lot of he said, she said, and I kind of like, because I knew that this was like, yeah, Kaepernick's not after this. Like, I don't think he's ever gonna get in. Yeah, and I kind of just, you know, emotionally detached myself because I was the one. Every time some trash white quarterback made some stupid throw, I was the one tweeting. Well,
dude, it should still be that way.
Yeah.
There's no way that he should not have to do a workout to get a job.
True. Yeah. So I was the guy tweeting, "Yo, why the hell is Kaepernick not in the league and this bum is in here?" So I was that guy. And then so there came to a point where I had to realize that, yo,
they got Kurt Warner at a grocery store.
Yeah,
you think they like, come on, man.
They're never gonna bring this guy in. So I had
to. He's never coming back.
I had to detach myself from the situation because it was like, it's not gonna happen. So, I guess I understand the way people feel about Jay-Z. I think the way I've always seen it is like, I feel like a lot of times, and this is just the nature of social media, is that it's a lot of people talking about what they would do in situations that they're not in, and will probably never be in.
Exactly.
So it's like, and we do this too, and this is why also more and more I've been a little bit lighter in my criticism of certain people in certain genres or, you know, careers, because it's like I can't do what they do. So it's easy for me to say, like, oh, they were dumb for doing that, even though I still think that, like, rich people who get busted for DUIs, I still think that's the stupidest thing in the world. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, how do you not pay somebody to drive you everywhere?
Fam, you have to think there's that never surprises me. When a celebrity is busted for doing some dumb stuff like that, it's because of the fact that they're celebrities, bro. As soon as you become a celebrity and you're of a certain stature, you're handed the world on a plate.
I get it.
And that means that you don't think of repercussions, because repercussions don't affect you the way it affects you.
Yo, I'm gonna use this to talk about something current. The Gina chick.
Gina Carano. Yeah.
Yo,
yeah.
Listen.
No, she's just stupid.
Listen to me.
That's not a DUI. That's stupidity.
The whole thing is about, like, blowing a bag, doing things that you just shouldn't do. And it's like I listened to the take, and it's a trash take. Like, it's not even like, It's not even like a.
She's stupid.
It's like and it's not even like a hot. It's not even like a heavy take. Like it's not even like one of them ones where it's like, yeah, yo, it's worth going down for standing on.
It's not like it's definitely not a.
It wasn't
feeler
even
on that one.
It wasn't even like a thought provoking take. It was a stupid take, and I'm like, why would you even say that? Like it's so dumb. And then it's like,
yeah, no, you're right.
Like why?
Like, no, hey, trust me, that's different. That's different from a celebrity getting a DUI.
I think that is literal. I just liken it all to just like, and I guess that's the point is that they're not thinking. Is just take us just consider for a moment that what you're about to do, or what you're about to say, good or bad, is gonna have there's gonna be a reaction from your action. Good or bad. So you would think that there should be a little bit of thought in what the hell you're about to say.
I will say there's also her white privilege that had
maybe she thought she could. And then listen, this is another thing. And listen, you know the game. We all know the game.
I know
because
the game,
because some of the same people at the tops of the movie industry are also some of the same people at the tops of the music industry. And there are just some people, some groups that you just should not go after. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So, like, why, when you know that Disney is your boss, why would you give a trash take about Jewish people? It just doesn't make sense. And it wasn't even a good take.
Because Walt Disney hated Jewish people?
Maybe she felt like,
I will say this, though.
Maybe she
had this in her back pocket too. If they let James Gunn just get a little slap on the wrist and he's still rocking,
what did he do again? I forgot.
Like, the hypocrisy of that, I always understood it.
What did he do again?
Like, he had those like rape joke tweets and pedophilia joke tweets and all this stuff from like way back when. You can't do that. And Disney let him slide. They let him go and they brought him back. Pedophilia and rape?
It's different, Cam.
You can't play with those. You know what they do to you in jail with those?
Yes, I agree.
You can't play with those.
But who are the overlords?
Yeah, they're Jewish.
You can't talk about them.
No, I feel where you're coming from, but I feel like she'll get another shot down the line. I really do think so. Nick Cannon just got his job back.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
And that's Viacom. Like, come on, Nick.
Yeah.
Nick. And
Nick just got his job back. I just saw a Wild 'N Out commercial.
That was another case.
To get her job back.
That was another case. Nick, it's okay. You can feel how you want to feel. Yo, you can have those conversations amongst your closest friends. You can get you some little groups together, little powwows, whatever. But to just and did she? Was she tweeting? Did she tweet this?
She it was on Instagram. She did an Instagram story where she did it. No, it was immensely stupid.
And it didn't even
seem. But look what happened though. She immediately got some shit with Ben Shapiro. Racist ass.
So think about that.
You see, they're starting a production company. They're starting a whole where they're trying to do movies and stuff like where they want to push the more. Don't
even get me going about Ben Shapiro.
Conservative narrative, and then you got Trump with his. Well, dog, they're starting their own political party. Like that's about to get ugly.
Don't even get me started about Ben. But here's the thing: have you ever seen that? It's the meme of Eric Andre, and it's like he's like shooting somebody,
shoots something, and then he blames them.
So so the caption was Gina, and she was shooting, and the person that he was shooting, it said Gina's career, and then at the bottom,
why would you cancel me?
At the bottom, it put blame the left. Like it's like, yo, you did that to yourself because you're stupid, and then you're upset that people got mad.
No, they're trying to push their liberal values upon me. That's what happened. It's not my fault.
Like again,
it's not my fault, man.
The statement wasn't even like the statement didn't even come out in a way that like maybe she was entrapped into saying something crazy. Or,
no, she went out of her way to do this.
Like,
she's done it for quite some time now.
Like she had this, like she was just like, oh my gosh, she couldn't wait to get this out, and then just got it out, and it was like it didn't even make sense. Like contextually. Well, she's
been saying dumb shit for quite some time. Like this was not something new.
So we went down.
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, we went down. We went down a long rabbit trail.
Now, I don't want this to be an indictment.
Yes. Okay.
Whether or not the movie is good.
No. So we were talking about Jay-Z, and athletes and people making choices and whether or not the choices are good or whatever. But I can see why people would be upset, why people would feel the way they feel. I don't agree with them. I think that he would. I don't think he would have hated Jay-Z. Maybe they wouldn't have worked together, but I don't think he would have hated him.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they would. I think they would have had to. They would have definitely had sit downs and tried to come to an agreement.
Definitely. And the thing is, that's what we were talking about, like what we would.
But do also, let's be real. I mean, it's butterfly effect stuff, because if he's alive, that alters the way Jay-Z views things, because the world is different.
So it's like, the statement about him making money off black pain or blah blah blah. But I feel like, that's like almost every black artist in America over the last 60 years. It's like that's what we've been doing, is telling our story through our lens. And it just so happens that it's white people in charge of all this stuff. So like, what else are we supposed to do? Like, how else
do we express this?
Yeah, I'm not gonna knock a black man getting his money. Like, for what? They're getting it. I feel like to me that's the thing. We live in a capitalistic society. They're not waiting for you to get your piece. They're gonna take theirs. So if you have an opportunity to get your cut, get your cut. And use your cut, which I think he's done, to help out other people. And after that, I mean, I don't really get into too much with. I'm the same with musicians as I am with athletes. It's like I don't really get too much into some of what the personal stuff you do. I don't really care. It's like, do you? Obviously, there's some things that like transcends the game, and it's like, yeah, I can't really rock with you, but it's like, was the song good? Yeah, the song was good. Oh, what about what he did over here?
I think that's one of the most overrated things of artistry, athleticism, which is another form of artistry.
Yeah,
is the immediate stamp or label of a role model.
Exactly.
Where everything that you do in life now has to be pristine and better than what the people that are immediately around them, who should be their actual role models, are doing. Like, I could have an artist who I idolize because of how they express their artistry. I don't care how they are as a person. That's not my instinct or thought. It's how well they put words together, how well they are, how well they act in front of a camera, how well they perform behind a camera, how well they make a jump shot, how well they do a crossover. That has nothing to do with their everyday life.
But it
just depends on how they cultivate their talent.
It goes to how we see these people, and we see them as commodities. Like, we don't see them as humans. So it's the same as like the kid who tries to get an autograph from a player, and the player says no, and then his dad goes on a rant on social media about how this guy's an asshole. But it's like, that guy don't owe you anything. Like,
that's one of the things that I've always tried to keep in mind. One of my favorite examples of that is when I was in Manhattan Beach one time, and I'm with a buddy of mine, and we're about to go to this place to have like breakfast out in Manhattan Beach, and we're walking down the block, and I look up and I see this tall dude, pretty big guy with two women with him, on his phone, and they're on their phones. These girls are just yakking, and he's just kind of in the middle of them, like, I wish they would shut up.
Yeah.
I look up and I'm like, that looks like Ndamukong Suh. I'm like, that is Ndamukong Suh. And I feel like he heard me say it the second time. And he kind of like looked up and kind of like gave a look like, don't do it, man. Yeah. And I just went, he was literally standing in front of the place we were going into. We just went in. Like, I could have tried to have been that guy and then went on a rant about how bad as the league chart to make him out to be.
Yeah.
He didn't want to give me an autograph at 10 o'clock in the morning or take a picture with me when it looked like he was having a bad day. Like, you're allowed to have a bad day. You're a human being.
Yo,
he's not entitled to anything.
He gets paid to play football. After that, or maybe contractually he has certain media obligations or whatever.
Which is just to talk to the media.
Do what you got to do. But like, you don't have to be a nice guy so that my kid can look up to you.
Yeah.
And it's like,
your kids shouldn't look up to me as a human being. You don't even know me.
So
your kid you don't know how I was raised. You don't know what my makeup is, but your kid knows what your makeup is. He sees you on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
You should be more concerned with how he views you than how he views me.
Exactly.
And then tearing me down and try to take away my livelihood just because you don't agree with one thing out of my life when you don't take care of your kid enough.
So that's the way I need
to worry about what your kid's doing. But we're also in a different world.
Exactly. I mean, I've always tried to have. I've never put people, players, athletes on like a high pedestal to where I'm so shocked when they do something that human beings do all the time. It's like,
Then again, I also try to remind myself that just the way you said that, they're not going to do things human beings do all the time. They're going to do things worse.
Well,
because they have the ability to and the money to, and I have to accept that too. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be mad if they do some really outlandish stuff.
I am still shocked when these guys get DUIs. It's still stupid. That's still
shocking. You have to stop being shocked when they get DUIs. It's not shocking.
Listen, Cam.
How is dog?
Cam,
come on, man.
Cam, these guys are always in with entourages, with groups, with people. Listen,
dude, especially athletes. You have been told you are a self-sufficient beast, untouchable human being, and you've had to have that mindset since you were a child, and now you're an adult. You get behind the wheel of a car. Who's going to tell me no? I'm me. And half the time, when they were getting pulled over in college, they weren't getting tickets because they played on the football team.
But it's like, you got
they played on the basketball team. You're not getting tickets for this. So in your head, it doesn't matter. I'm me. I'm untouchable. These guys don't even plan their money. These players are broke within 3 years 95% of the time.
Listen,
you think they're thinking about drinking and getting behind the wheel, man?
Listen, before the night starts, bro.
No, I understand where you're coming from. I promise.
Here's my keys. I'm about to turn up. I'm telling you right now. I'm about to turn up tonight. It's your job.
Have you ever partied with a college football player?
A basketball player, not college football player.
Let me tell you something about college football.
It's different.
I'm not taking nothing from a college football player before the night starts.
No.
Or during.
No, it's not for them to take it. It's up to them to give it.
Bro,
Listen.
they're at dog. When your whole mindset is I'm that guy, I do whatever I want. I set the tone.
So what bigger flex is there to have somebody drive you around?
That's not a flex. That's a sign of weakness in that situation. I've paid all this money for this Ferrari, this Lamborghini, this tricked out Benz truck, this Benz wagon. I'm driving in this. This is me. This is my status symbol. This is what it is, bro. Like, this is what I earned. This is me. This is all me. Not a driver. You don't see somebody else drive. This is me. I'm whipping this. Look, I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying I'm not surprised when it happens.
I don't know. Maybe I guess that's where maybe the way different people think about things. To me, that's the flex. To me, the flex is like, I got this guy around me because that's what I'm paying him to do, because I got the money to do it. Like, I'm paying this guy to do a thing for me because I can. It's like, why would I even have to? I don't even feel like driving now. Like, I would love for somebody to drive me around. Mr. Johnson, are you ready to go? Yes, I'm ready to go. And
all I know is, man, if I can actually afford a 98 Lamborghini Diablo, guess what I'm doing?
Of course,
I'm driving that motherfucker as much as I can. But I don't drink either, so that's also
that. I mean, I'll drive that too. But it's just almost kind of like, just to this event. And it's fine. I'll pull up. But, like, when I get out of the car, you're driving me home. So I better not see one drink in your hand, because your job is to be my barrier, to make sure I don't do nothing too crazy. Because there's too much money at stake here. That's the problem. It's way too much bread floating out here for me to do something dumb like getting in a car after I drunk. But I don't know.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I understand the mindset, man. I'm never surprised when it happens, and you shouldn't be.
I always shake my head. I smack my teeth and I shake my head.
I'm trying to tell you
every time. Like, this dumbass. Like, this is sorry.
I'm not saying they're smart. Look, what did Chris Rock say? I'm not saying you should have killed her, but I understand. That's where I'm at with the DUIs, man. I'm not saying you should have got behind the wheel drunk, but I understand who you are as an athlete. It's your mindset, bro. You feel like I'm me. No one's going to pull me over. Who cares? I can do whatever the fuck I want. Period.
So we suggested you watch Judas and the Black Messiah.
Amazing performances from everyone involved in the film.
Fantastic movie.
Trigger warning for sure. Trigger warning, but definitely watch Judas and the Black Messiah if you can stomach it. Definitely listen to the soundtrack. It's amazing. Good movie.
Okay, so we'll wrap it up by asking: is there anything that that's coming down the pipe that you're looking forward to?
Come on, man. You already know what it is, bro. Come on now.
Are you talking about the Snyder cut?
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Hey, check this out. Check this out. Check this out.
Come on now.
Check this out. We're cool, so I don't mind admitting this. I have not seen all the way through the first Justice League.
Jesus Christ.
I haven't seen all the way through.
Okay.
I haven't seen.
I think you should.
I haven't seen Aquaman.
Wait. You didn't watch Aquaman?
And I
think it was fun.
And I only saw the first Wonder Woman.
Okay, well, you saw the good one. So there's that.
So when I watch the Snyder cut, it will be the first full cut that I watch anyway. So I'm not gonna have.
Warn you.
I'm not gonna have anything to compare it to.
You do know how long the movie is, right?
Yes. Okay. So the only comparison that I can think of is like the ultimate cut of Batman versus Superman, which
this is why I'm trying not to get excited for this movie, because it's still Zack Snyder, bro. Like at the end of the day, no matter how you slice it, this is the guy that thought Martha, why'd you say that, was cool. Like,
so
this is still
okay,
that guy.
I'm asking you this because I don't care if you spoil it. So was the Joker in the other one?
No, he wasn't in the other one, but he was supposed to be.
So he's gonna be in this one.
Yeah, that's why they did reshoots. They reshot it so that it could actually be what Zack Snyder wanted. So it's a combination of the two movies.
Even though Jared Leto kind of looks like the chick. What's that movie? The Nun, the horror movie.
Yeah,
that's
he
what
kind of
looks
looks
like.
That. And I will say this: he's smart too. I don't know if you've seen what he's been doing.
Jared or
he was like
Zack?
Zack Snyder.
Okay.
I think he knows if this goes well, he can parlay this into a Justice League 2 in his head. I don't know how well that would go, because I don't know if Ben Affleck would actually sign on if he's there. I don't know. Maybe that'll persuade him. But he even made it. He's leaving nuggets to make you go, oh, well, I got to see that. But he's doing it before we've seen this.
Yeah.
I think he knows it's going to do numbers regardless. And because it'll do numbers, they'll probably let him get another one. But he said the reason why he wanted to make sure he did the reshoots was because his original plan for Justice League 2 was to actually show you the murder of Robin with the Joker and then delve more into the nightmare dystopia thing.
I seen somebody say that they wanted to see and this was with Ben Affleck's Batman, who, by the way, I always say this, people, Ben Affleck is the best Batman.
Facts.
And I'll die on that hill. It's the best.
I will murder people on that hill before I die.
It's the best Batman.
He is the best Ben Affleck.
I always tell people, listen, you have to subdue how you feel about Ben Affleck. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Ben Affleck is the best.
Honestly,
Batman.
at that point, you shouldn't have had any problem with Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck had been on like a 10-year tear. Genie was a long time ago, bro. It was a long time ago. He had already did The Town, which is one of my favorite movies. He'd already done Argo. Like, come on, man.
He was fantastic. I loved it, even though there were a lot of people who were upset because they're like, Batman doesn't kill anybody, and I'm like, man, bump that. Smoke these fools.
Batman did kill people. But I will say this too. Here's the one thing that I always tell people: separate the acting of the Batman from the movie.
True.
Like,
plus
Christian Bale overall was an okay Batman, an amazing Batman movie.
I say this all the time in all three of the movies. When it comes to Christian Bale's acting, he's like the third or fourth best person in all the movies. Like, he gets out acted in every one. But
Michael Caine's in the movies with him. He didn't have a choice. But.
Yeah, I mean, because the storyline was a good storyline overall.
Yeah,
it makes
if Ben Affleck was playing that, it was in the Dark Knight trilogy. Oh my God! Like, come on, man.
But it's just like just his portrayal of Bruce Wayne, I just thought was fantastic. And I hated he wasn't talking like this when it's what does he have? Does he have an overbite or an underbite? Which one is it?
Christian Bale.
Yeah, but or whatever he did for Batman. That's stupid.
Yeah, I hated that.
I just know the people.
Swear to me. Yes, I hated that voice. Man.
Where are they?
I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh when you're trying to get your point across as Batman.
People,
and it's funny to me.
You're just scared that you're shocked that people can be good and all that. Like, this is just stupid.
This is proof that people are ready to be good. Point the gun at me, Harvey. You're like, no, bro, you aren't, like, you're not doing this. But when Ben Affleck asked Superman, tell me, do you bleed? That was so
it was fantastic. And they did it because he's got the voice thing,
That's what makes the most sense.
It makes it
if
dope.
Batman was real, he would have some type of voice modulation. He wouldn't sound like himself. He wouldn't make up a voice. And he would actually have something to alter his voice.
And even if you want to go to the animated Batman series, which I think a lot of people kind of pull as their mark for what they think Batman is.
I mean, yeah, Kevin Conroy is the GOAT of Batman.
But he's still not growling. Like that's just
he's not growling. He just has a very
deep voice, and it's just like I'm Batman
with just the right amount of gravel.
Yeah, but it's like this is stupid. It wasn't stupid. It was a turn off to me.
It didn't help.
Growling, so Ben Affleck to me was just, and he was a fantastic older Bruce Wayne. Which is
because you can tell that he has been ravaged by stuff in Hollywood.
Beaten down.
Him staring at the costumes was just like, you could just see it in his eyes. Like, I can't. Why am I doing this?
Beaten down by life. I'm in Gotham. All I've been doing is dealing with the mentally insane. It's just
the only person who was close to me who I considered a son was killed because I couldn't save him.
The people who I partner with, they're turning. And Superman and these other random aliens wreaked havoc on my damn city. So I don't trust anybody right now. Everybody can get it. And he played that character to me perfectly. But
I agree.
I don't even know how we got to Ben Affleck. I don't know how we got to most of our segues.
We talked about the Snyder Cut. Well, because you asked me what else I was excited for. I'm excited for the Snyder Cut. It's 3.5 hours.
Yes.
I'm excited to see what happens. I especially like the whole nightmare thing, the whole apocalyptic future thing. I'm interested to see how Darkseid performs in this.
They referenced that in Batman vs Superman, right? His nights, or his what did he call it?
Yeah, the nightmare thing, the nightmare realm, which is that's where he has the dream that Lois Lane dies and that makes Superman evil. It's going to delve more into that. And there's actually going to be a comic series with this based off the story that Zack Snyder wanted to tell because he doesn't think he's going to get a part 2. So it all depends on how this does essentially, but I still don't think he needs to get a part 2 because it's still Zack fucking Snyder. Like, I don't trust him.
Yeah, it's weird because
the bow looks pretty, but when you unwrap it, it's a lump of coal half the time. I can't deal with it.
It's funny.
Like, outside of 300, what do you love from Zack Snyder?
I love 300. I'll just say that. I really love
300. I know. We all love 300, and we all thought, he's Zack Snyder. But he hasn't done anything great since.
So somebody put up a thing on Twitter, and they were like, what is the how did they say it? Oh, what is the movie experience that you most want to relive? And this is not the answer, but I remember seeing 300 in the movies, and it's one of my favorite movie. The way I reacted to the movie, I don't often react to movies, and it was one of the few movies where I can recall having several audible reactions.
That was a fun movie. I remember the night I saw it because we were directing people the wrong way. Because that was back when we saw midnight showing of it.
Yeah.
And that was back when you had to wait in line for midnight. It was
fantastic. I loved it.
And we were telling people that we were in line to watch Norbit and not 300 because people kept coming. Like, the line was out the door of the theater, and we're in line, and people were like,
"Oh no, this is a Norbit line.
300?
No, this is."
And Norbit. I was like, "No, this is line for Norbit." And the reason why we were able to nail that home is because we had a friend who wasn't 18. And we had to buy him a ticket.
Oh.
So we had to buy him a ticket to Norbit because we were over 21.
Oh, so we bought him a ticket.
Yeah, he was showing him his Norbit ticket. So they'd be like, "No, really, look." And we show him the Norbit ticket, and they'd go off and go somewhere else.
Oh, man.
It's crazy. We're just talking about Batman. The Dark Knight is that experience for me. I don't know how was your experience seeing The Dark Knight?
You know what? I can't really remember it.
Really?
I know who I went with. I actually remember more. Funny, even though I don't think it's as good a movie, I had more audible reactions to Rises than I did from Dark Knight, only because matter of fact, it was the exact same reaction that I had when Thanos beat up Hulk. I was like, hell yeah. And I said it when he was whooping Batman, he was preaching. Have you ever, that's crazy. Man. Have you ever seen that? Like, I've never seen it happen in real life. Like, could imagine getting beat up but the guy is monologuing. The guy's monologuing while he's doing it, like slowly.
I've never seen that happen.
He's taking his time, and you're trying, but you just know like this isn't. I can't beat this guy. I'm doing my best because I got a good fight. Like I got good heart, but like I'm not gonna beat this guy. But he's like monologuing.
I've never seen that happen in real life.
And I knew it because I knew about the story. I knew it like, and I had talked about it before. Okay, so at some point, like Batman got to get his back broke. I don't know how it's gonna happen. Pause, but like it's got to happen. And
well, no, I didn't know if they were gonna do it. So I vividly remember in the theater when that happened because I was another midnight showing. We were in line at like 3:00 in the afternoon. Oh no, I said audibly.
I cheered.
Best movie ever.
And I think people thought I was weird because I do that. Like I cheer when the villain, like when Killmonger was whooping Black Panther. I was like, whoo! Like I loved it. I loved it because I like I like a good villain treatment. Even though I didn't necessarily like a lot of the voice inflection.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it, but I also it wasn't my favorite thing.
They did change it. It was way more muffled at first.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Did
they dub it, or was that actually his audio there?
No, they had to dub it because when they did the teaser, it was before Mission Impossible in IMAX. They showed the plane sequence.
Yeah.
And it was
I remember that. Matter of fact, the first time I ever saw the preview was just a plane sequence.
Yeah, they changed his audio. His audio for sure.
Oh,
but I will say,
darkness is your ally. Fantastic.
Darkness is your ally.
I was born in it, molded, just whooping his ass, preaching to him.
I saw the light. I was already a man. Yeah, no, he was going in.
And then he picked him up.
When that happened,
so to me,
I literally went, "This is the best movie ever."
So for me, whenever I'm watching fight scenes, and I'm not as much into like fighting as I think you are. I am a boxing fan, but I like when they accurately represent like size.
The medium there, yeah.
Well, like so, and especially in a case like that where they could have gone the CG route or whatever to make him be like Bane was in the comics, but you can't do that. So how else can you show really how strong this guy is? Like you got to show that he's got that, and then you could see Batman doing some punches, and it wasn't even phasing him. Like Bane wasn't even blocking him. Like that's crazy. Like if you squaring off on a guy and he not even trying to block
the punches,
and then he just hits you once and you fall back, and it's like, damn, I'm into it. I'm into it. This is gonna be a tough one. And then they really showed that when he right before he broke his back, when he grabbed him just by like his suit. Like it wasn't like he lifted him the way that you're supposed to lift, like with your legs. Like he just reached over and grabbed him and just lifted him over his head like he was some dumbbell. And then that's so I love the way that they
wondered what would break first. Your spirit
or your body. Snap.
Crack. I was like, let's go.
Yeah. I was like, yes. So I remember that more than. I don't think there was ever a part in The Dark Knight where I was audible. I just think I was just so captivated.
Really?
I was just so. I think I was so captivated by Ledger's performance that I don't think I remember ever speaking. I think I was just following.
Oh no! Well, here's the thing about that. Here's why it was such an experience, because that was, of course, once again at the time where people were camping out to see movies because there was just midnight showings.
That was a fun. Because
there wasn't assigned seating everywhere you went. And people were camped out for The Dark Knight at the theater that I went to the week of.
Sheesh.
They were already camped out. And I remember thinking, I'm not getting a ticket. Like my goal was to see it that Thursday night at midnight, but I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get a ticket.
Yeah.
The day of, the theater that I go to said every theater except for one is gonna show The Dark Knight.
Yo, they did that. I forget which theater I went to. You know what? It was the one in Redlands.
Krikorian.
Yes. They did that one. They did that with Iron Man.
Oh, really? Did they do that when I saw Iron Man? I don't think I saw it on
the first Iron Man. Like most of the theaters, they were all showing Iron Man because the hype was so big and so many people wanted to go see it.
Yeah, see, because I was like, yo, like it was every theater except one. They were showing Mamma Mia because Mamma Mia was coming out the next day. Every theater except for one was showing The Dark Knight. And I remember by the time we got inside, it was a madhouse, bro. Like just to try to find seats because people were going nuts.
Yeah.
We somehow got decent seats, but I just remember the exact points in the movie. I said it 3 times in that movie. The first time I said it was when the body hits the window hanging with the Batman costume on, with the Joker card.
The fake fake Batman.
Well, the real Batman, please stand up.
Yeah.
And I remember I went, wow, this movie is not for kids. Like I honestly said that, right?
This is not for children.
And then literally right after that, I'm a man of my word.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he killed, I was like, it gave me a chill. And I was like, yo, this movie is not for kids. Yes. And then when they blew up Rachel,
they blew
I was so loud. I was like, this movie is crazy.
Harvey, I just want to boom. Like, damn.
Dog, she couldn't get
saved.
Movie,
she couldn't get saved.
That movie shocked me at the level of darkness it had in it.
Yeah,
I didn't expect it to get that dark. That movie, literally in the theater, that experience for me was insane. If I could relive that, just be like, this movie is... Or when he turns around on the bike, when he flips the truck, I just got chills thinking about that. That part, that man.
Wait, there was
movie is the movie I want to relive for sure.
There was one more movie. Oh, episode 3.
I remember when I saw that.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
First of all, I already was like in a mode because John Williams was in his bag at the end after Padme dies, and that whatever that music is that comes at the same time as Darth Vader is like being found and treated. So it's already got like that real like that Roman Catholic like sound where it's like a 50-man choir or something like that. And that when it did that profile view of him laying down and that mask came down and clicked, and then you heard
the first breath.
I was like, I think
my theater went crazy when that happened.
Man, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. Inject that into my veins.
My theater went nuts. And I saw it in like mid-afternoon. Like my theater went crazy when that happened.
I'm trying to think, is there anything?
And then Lord Vader.
It's fantastic. Arise. Man, now that I think about it, man, the prequels were not bad.
They were, but it's okay. You can have good moments.
The Phantom Menace was not that good to me. I'm not a fan of the Phantom Menace.
Oh my God! But hello, the dueling.
Yes.
Oh come on, man.
Yes.
Come on, bro. That is the hardest.
But I really like I'll go back and watch Revenge of the Sith?
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
And I'll just go watch the last 45 minutes because I think it's fantastic. The duel between
it was so CGI choreographed. Like I love the Darth Maul one because it just feels natural.
Well, here's the thing. that those movies came out in that weird era of movies, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, when CG was becoming a thing, but it wasn't really perfected yet. And it was some really ugly CG jobs that came out then, which is unfortunate because to me, I like the storylines better. And then if you look at the more recent Star Wars movies, like the choreography is beautiful, but the storylines, I don't even want to get into it because I'll get upset again. But like the best, but of all the movies, of all 9, however many there are, 9 now.
9 of them. 9 episodes.
These three had the best fights to me. Like the scene to me, like one of my favorites is when Rey and Kylo fight the red dudes.
Oh no, that is the best fight.
And that whole sequence is fantastic.
Like, do I love the Duel of the Fates? Absolutely. But is that fight with Rey and Kylo, as soon as they went back to back,
yeah, it's great.
I got chills. I was like, yo.
I mean, Kylo when he's another one that I really love is Kylo when he's fading the Knights of Ren.
Oh yeah. He went off.
By the way, I'll never forgive them for the way that they treated the Knights of Ren.
The Knights of Ren were like they treated the Knights of Ren the way Resident Evil treated the stars.
They should have been fucking causing ruckus throughout all 3 movies.
They really.
And they didn't
the Knights
give
of Ren are different.
Like
they're built different.
Their costumes are great. Like the whole
yeah, they looked amazing. Like they were they were blooded out, bro. Like the fact that they were just so weak and easily beaten.
All right, let's stop because I'm already getting upset. Okay, I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's any movies. I'll probably think of one later, but.
Oh, also, how do you feel about Godzilla vs. Kong?
I'm for it.
I mean, when is it coming out? I don't even care.
It doesn't matter. I'm watching it.
It's literally a fast forward to the end movie. It's like, you can't tell me you've watched Kong or the last two Godzillas that went, this plot is so engrossing.
I didn't
get me to the fight.
I didn't, but I will say that I think I was just so much in awe of how they did Godzilla.
I've said this before. I think I said it in a clubhouse room we were in. That first Godzilla trailer, like when they first redid Godzilla, the trailer where it showed the military guys jumping out of the plane, and they're basically passing Godzilla's back and how massive.
Yes, fantastic.
That was so That's what I'm saying. Well That's done. What I'm saying. And it made me think this might actually be like a quality film.
Visually,
and I can't even remember 5 minutes of that movie.
Visually, the movie is great, and I love the way that they did Batman. I'm not Batman. The way they did Godzilla, like I like the way because he looked more like,
especially the Giga Blast into the mouth.
He looked more like the original Godzilla, and even though the second one wasn't very good,
they forced the second one was like, okay, let's get some monsters in here and let's get 11 in here.
But the fights with the monsters were fantastic. I love the fight. So I am really, really looking forward to how they do him and Kong.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they pointed out that, like, because in my head I was like, I watched that Kong movie, but I watched it like half paying attention.
Yeah, same.
And in my head I was like, Kong is small as hell. Godzilla, we just saw how big he is.
Yeah.
And then they pointed out, well, look at the time frame that the King Kong happened in. He wasn't fully an adult yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that makes sense. That's a good tie. That's a good tie.
And then he,
on paper, he should get stomped.
But the advantage he has over all of the Titans or whatever we want to call them is that he does have the opposable thumb, which.
Well, you already saw it in the first trailer. He was over here swinging a scepter.
Yeah, so like what he can do, he'd be a little bit more agile, even though he'd be one of the smaller ones of all of them. But there, at the end of the second Godzilla, there was that scene after he served the joint with the three heads.
Yeah,
and then all the other ones came and like knelt in front of him or something. So. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't really care. It's one of those movies where I know I'll just be able to kind of like turn the thinking cap off and just watch. So I hope it's just a fun watch. We'll see. But
I'm sure it'll be entertaining.
Yeah. So, but as far as movies, I think I'm looking forward to Dune.
You said what?
Dune. As far as movies,
when is Dune? I'm hyped for Dune.
That's not until like November, so we got a
Is it really?
Yep.
Oh man,
it's not the end of the year.
No, I feel like Dune. If the theaters. I think you see why they did that though. I think ultimately was because they're
trying to wait. Yeah.
Back up.
Oh, so let me say another one because this isn't on HBO or any of them. I mean, I'm a huge Bond guy, so I want to see Bond.
Oh, I'm already. That's off rip. I think it looks bad, but
I was so pissed when they pushed it off because like one of my favorite movies is Skyfall. I think that the way they did Skyfall
is the best Bond movie ever.
It's the best
Best Bond movie.
Sam Mendes killed that one.
Absolutely. But I will say that this movie looks bad. I'm not hyped for it at all.
Honestly, I haven't even seen any trailers in a while. Like I know when they first dropped the trailers, I saw it and I was kind of like, oh, Black Bond, what are they gonna do with her and all this stuff? And then when COVID hit and then they pushed it, it kind of just went to the back of my mind, and I really haven't thought about it much. So
I just kind of feel like, where can they really go? Like, where can they really take it?
The way it seems like they're going is that he retires because he drives off into the sunset with homegirl, and while he's gone,
Bond isn't meant to be happy.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. It seems like he finally got happiness, and then he's went with the girl, and he's gone. So obviously they need another Bond. So then they go with the I forget her name. She was also in Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was the Rambo, first Rambo, yeah.
So yeah, and it seems like maybe for some reason he has to come back, but then she's kind of like, all right, you're not the guy anymore, it's me. So
yeah,
they probably end up teaming together to fight. It's what's his name? Malik.
Rami Malek,
who's supposed to be the villain.
Continuing. I'm mad at some people trying to praise his performance and the little things, but we don't. That's not. Let me shut up.
I actually think he could play a good villain. He seems like he's quirky enough to where he might be able to pull off a. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
I think he's going to do fine, but I mean, I think that's more his role is playing the villain.
Yeah.
That has like a weird facial problem because that's what his voice lends itself to.
Yeah, and
like
I feel
he needs
like
to be wearing a mask or something.
Do all the Bond villains have some weird facial I'm thinking about it.
No, Christopher Plummer didn't. Man with the Golden Gun.
Oh, okay, I guess I'm just thinking of recently.
Oh well, I mean, yeah, because I mean,
at least for Daniel Craig.
Well,
the first guy in Casino Royale, he had the eye
Mads
thing.
Mikkelsen had the eye.
He had the eye thing.
Yeah, and then what's his name was supposed to be
in Skyfall. He had the mouth that got messed up because he bit into the cyanide capsule.
The cyanide pill. Yeah. And then of course you have Blofeld was the next one, so he was supposed to have the messed up face.
Yes.
That was supposed to be Blofeld, which was Christoph Waltz.
Yes, but he got the messed up face later into the movie because they had blown up that building while he was in it. And then I don't remember seeing any pictures of him, but this last one is probably more face. So I don't know. There's always
this one. It looked like almost like he had like veins or like scars going up his face. Like,
yeah,
a little different.
Okay. Yeah, we were supposed to talk about 2 movies, and then this became.
You knew this was gonna happen. You knew what this was.
True.
You see what we building here.
I think it's short. I think it's short. At least I think the 2 movies that we watched, that we talked about, we liked. Although I think we had a little bit more criticism about Malcolm and Marie.
It deserved the criticism.
But it was a more experimental movie. So I think.
Yeah, we're not saying
it was bound to happen. I think there was going to be more to talk about because of what they tried to do.
No one's like, oh, it's a bad movie. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so man, I appreciate you for coming on and talking about this stuff.
Yeah, no problem, man. I got to sit there, chop it up with you, watch the Clippers somehow win this game, and now I'm at the grocery store, you know. Nice. Yeah, they won without everybody playing, yeah.
Okay, tell everybody about what you got going on.
Okay, my name is Cam Archer. I write Bible verses. I also rap. I just put out a mixtape called The Heel Tape. That's not that important, but if you just like people who bar out, I just felt like barring out for a bit because I rap really good. If you want music with like a purpose behind it, I got that on streaming services. Spell my name correctly, CAMARCHER, and you can hear me rap about my life and how sometimes life is messed up. And Antonio directs all my videos, forcefully at gunpoint. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you're a sports fan, I write for the RaiderRamble.com. So if you want to go read some bad sports takes, go there. And I also write on my own Medium blog. You can find me on Medium under my name, Cam Archer. I also talk about sports. Yeah, that's it for now.
Had I known he was going to get a Raider takeoff, I would have cut him off before he started talking about the Raiders on my podcast.
You can't deny me, Billy. I'm too real.
Hey, okay. Yo, all right, real quick. I did a podcast that was entitled I'm with Dave. And I just want to say I'm happy for him that he got that he got what he wanted, which was
I'm stunned.
His likeness. Yeah. Which is all he wanted. I just want to be able to own me. I did all this stuff.
They paid him, they gave him his likeness back. Yeah, I'm
fantastic. And it's funny because he even said it like he really wasn't going after Comedy Central. It was just more because I didn't know that when it was on HBO Max and Netflix that he wasn't getting paid for those.
I knew he wasn't because I knew that how messed up his deal.
So that was crazy. So the fact that he was able to,
I'm surprised they did it. Like,
well, he said
I didn't think people would really stop watching to that degree.
He said that Netflix took it down, and then I think HBO Max later came to, because I think I remember wondering like, hey, I haven't really been seeing Dave Chappelle on HBO because I had been on HBO Max a lot, HBO Max has a lot of foreign films, and I was on a foreign film binge. So I was on that app a lot, and I hadn't seen it. And then he had just dropped the episode saying that he is getting paid now, which is fantastic. Because I know somebody had asked him whether or not he wanted to do like more, like bring back the Chappelle show. But he couldn't do it because he would have to call it something else because he didn't own Chappelle show, which is crazy.
Honestly, I don't know if I want him to bring it back because I don't know if he'll have Neil with him.
Yeah,
I think Neil was a very underrated part.
I don't want that. I think maybe him. Honestly, I would rather him if he wants to get back into sketch comedy. I would rather him be like a producer with like newer talent and newer writers. But I don't want him like him. I don't know about him trying to recapture what happened with Chappelle's show. I don't know if he can. I think what happened there was unique, and I don't want to mess that up by trying to redo it. But
Absolutely.
I don't know. So,
no, I totally agree.
But yeah, I would love to see him producing.
Broke, don't fix it. Leave it alone.
Exactly. I would love to see him producing.
I also see that
stuff.
At least HBO Max doesn't have the third season. Is that just exclusive to Netflix or what?
I don't know. I haven't even looked at it on HBO Max. It doesn't have the third season.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, huh. So I was on HBO Max the other night and I noticed that they didn't have it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, I just wanted to get that off. I'm always down for people getting paid for their work. So, shout out to Dave, and I guess
I'm immensely happy.
I guess shout out for the overlords for breaking them off. So, I appreciate you, man.
No problem. Thank you so much.
No
problem at all, man.
For sure. All right, guys. He's been Cam. I've been Antonio. We're out.
Not being. Yeah. Never knew a day I didn't downplay. My homie Dryden told me try an ounce to let the pain fade. Brain erase, feeling like Jim Carrey on this escapade. If the mind is spotless, why these women feel so toxic? Film this biopic, catch me co-opting. She in the cockpit of her own Porsche. Said if I put it down, I could drive it, not a typo. The type that was always up for surprises. Her parents retired early. She found my music enticing, quick to show and hype and see off like a